welcome to what is potentially going to be our least sexy God Pod episode, because we have 3 sexual blind head types talking about ourselves today. Get comfortable, create some ambience with a bucket of Cheese Whiz and breadsticks, put on your favorite background conspiracy subreddit, glitch techno, and get horizontal in your stained, weak, sullied track pants. So I hope I didn't just insult you both. So yeah, we have 3 different head types on today, and we're all social self-preservation. So social self-preservation stacking is like the fire and brimstone, social critic, holy roller, snob, social commentary, scathing gossip. And like, sadly, I hate to admit this, depending on the core and the trifix or tri-type, it's kind of the Karen stacking. So not the Karen type though, just so we're clear. And so we have Mads on today, all the way from Germany, and he is a type 5, which means competency, rejection, withdrawn, a 5 wing 6. We have Vittoria hiding hiding behind her gray screen. She's a 6 wing 5, so she's reactive, attachment, superego, and I'm a 7 wing 6, positive, frustration, assertive head type. So, and I would love it, Mads, if you feel like introducing yourself a little, just because this is your first time being on here.
Okay, so as you said, I'm a social self-press 5 wing 6, 593 trifix, and yeah, I've been introduced to Enneagram recently, so I'm pretty fresh. So still learning about all the stuff.
And ask you all the questions.
Yeah, and also I'm from Germany, but I grew up in Norway, so my Norwegian is my native language.
Amazing. Great accent.
I was mentioning to Larissa earlier, it's good that we were all head wing head. So
yeah, right.
An equalizer factor, and we also were all 9 fixed, so that kind of adds a level of similarity in terms of experiences, but also a good way to like separate the effect of head alone rather than just like head and gut.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought like we could start maybe with some social self-pres questions related to that we're all head types. So I wanted to ask Mads, how do you see yourself doing social as like you're a withdrawn head core with a withdrawn gut fix? Do you feel tension between being a social dominant and also like the withdrawn kind of desire to pull away from people?
Yeah, I tend to want to connect, and then when people are presenting themselves, invite me to stuff, then I decline. And then I'm kind of like, nah, perhaps not, and not now, later, and then stuff never happens. And it's quite annoying because I cannot connect with people that way, but I still kind of I'm elusive when people try to nail me down for something. So I actually have to be more proactive if I want to do stuff with others.
Right. Yeah, because you're the underactive or the thinking versus doing core version.
Yeah.
What do you get out of interacting with people?
I need to it depends on the interaction itself. I don't do small talk. Well, I try, but I'm terrible at it. So it has to be something close to my interest. So at the moment I have tabletop evenings with colleagues. So I play tabletop games with them, and I also do online role-playing game also every week. So I get more, yeah, that's how I get my social interaction with people. So it's basically through my interest. And of course, I talk with people through, chat with people through Discord, through my different interests. But I usually don't veer away from my interests when I talk with people. So I'm pretty focused and limited in that way.
What happens like when you do have to engage with people on a mundane level?
Well, luckily, in Germany and Norway, we don't do casual chit chat usually.
Far-friendly
So
nation.
yeah. I mean, it's probably quite different in the US, but here, if we don't really want to talk with people, it's much easier to decline. There is not so much social pressure in that regard.
Perfect.
How about you, Vittoria?
So I'm also, I'd say even though I'm a 6 core, but I have some withdrawn like influence in my type, because I'm also the type to like I can't just get up and go and like meet people without prior preparation. Like I'm not a very flexible person. Um, and then also with the I don't, maybe that's related to being SOSP, but there's also this kind of trying to curate social experiences. Like I'm not just like, let's do anything at any time with anyone. um I'm more like, I want to be more in control of like who I give my energy to. So yeah, I guess it's a bit more withdrawn, I would say, overall.
Yeah. Yeah, I like, yeah, as a social 7, I've always like, ever since I was like, I don't know, at least a teenager, I've always had like groups for my different interests so that I can like, because I don't really ever have friends who have all the same interests as me. And with a 4 fix, I'd probably hate them if they did. So I like to have my different groups that I can sort of get my fix from. But I find it actually, this is sometimes where I guess there's this is interesting, where there's maybe overlap with 5, because I find it hard to just like hang out with people and we're just doing nothing. Like what's not related to my interests is like kind of just so disinteresting to me that I can't really muster the energy to do it, or I have to get like blindingly drunk or just chaotic and cause problems because it's so boring to me. That's probably not how
Yeah.
you behave in those situations, Mads, I'm sure. And then I go in a cycle of like being more social and then getting really drained and then wanting to withdraw because I have 2 withdrawn fixes. But anyway,
Yeah, I might be the most easygoing here. Like even if I'm not that easygoing, but I'm okay just meeting people and kind of vibing. Like it doesn't need to be interest based. I do get my interest fixes, like, or fixes isn't like, yeah, like hitting the spot, whatever, like mostly online because I can't meet people with my niche interests in the real world.
yeah. Yeah, I find it like hard to maintain friendships, to be honest, when there becomes like a disconnect in our interests. It's like, what are we gonna do now? Like I've had it where I've dated people that don't have similar interests to me, but we're interested in other things together, so it's okay. But
Yeah.
when it's a friend, it's like, yeah, I find it kind of like tougher. When we don't have, it's almost like a language. I've noticed like the different stackings kind of share a common language where I feel like I can just talk to social self-presence easier too. It's like I don't know if you've noticed that, Mads, but
What do you mean?
like, I guess, have you noticed like maybe where you can have sort of the more conversations that juice up your core type? Do you know if they're like with other social self-presence? Like, are they usually focused on social 5 related issues or topics?
Well, the thing is, I only socialize with people at work, and I when I was in Norway, I had a much bigger circle of friends, and when I moved to Germany, that evaporated, and then I've been living in more isolated places in Germany, and it's very hard for me to actually find friends, have the same interests, and usually if I cannot connect with them on any interest, then it's hard for me to really connect at all. So
Yeah.
but interestingly enough, the last 2 years has been I have been more social the last 2 years than in the last decade, because
Got a
I moved.
counterphobic wing 6.
Yeah, I moved. We moved to a city, so where people are more. Yeah, the thing is, where we lived, it was a small town, and they have their own circles, and it's hard to get inside in their circles because they are born there, they've lived there the entire life, and and it's hard for me personally to even enter any circle at all. So, and if they are not ready to embrace me in any way, then it will not happen.
Makes sense.
So when we moved here, I found through my colleagues again, a couple of people who actually shared my interest. In my previous work, they all had a lot of very self-press interests, house, and yeah, they talked a lot about houses and what they're doing at their home, how they are building stuff, and I was like, I cannot connect. I totally it's not my world at all. And where I'm now, where one of my colleagues, he's arranging all these game nights, and that's exactly what I like to do myself. So I have been more involved with people.
That's great.
Yeah,
Since moving.
if you don't mind sharing, like, does your job overlap with your like your competency obsession, like, or is it just a job? Did you purposely choose a job that you think has another layer of meaning, or is it just like, oh, I just want to make money?
No, I choose no. If I wanted to do it just for money, then I wouldn't do what I do now. Well, I was actually well, I am a software developer, so that is what I wanted to do since I was 16 years old. So I chose that path pretty early on, and I choose the work that's was the most interesting. I could have just chosen a big company and gotten a big wage, but I choose a startup company instead, in a niche industry. And then it was one of two companies in the world that did exactly the same. So I thought that was the probably my most interesting work at all. I worked there for 15 years, and then I switched jobs. So now I just do boring web development. But my colleagues are better, so it evens up.
I think this is the thing. I think social types, not as a like a general, like maybe just as a general statement, but I think social types are drawn to like purpose more, or like a job is not just a job. Because I've seen a lot of self-pressed people I met, like, yeah, a job is just a job. It doesn't like identify them in any way. It's just it's like, I don't care what I do, I just want to make money. Meanwhile, same with me, like if I wanted to make money, I wouldn't be doing the job I'm doing right now. Probably same with Larissa as well, but Larissa doesn't care about money at all.
Well, now that I'm trying to flee, I am trying to hustle, but like, yeah, I agree about the Mads, what you said earlier about like the self-pres conversations are like excruciating. So I just wanted to like add that. But yeah, it's tough when I feel like I can't tie some kind of larger purpose or like thing related to my interests to what I'm doing for money. It's like makes it like way more agonizing to kind of get up in the morning and stuff. Like I don't do well under the regular work type environment. But like you thrive more in that, eh, Vittoria?
Yeah, so having like a 9 to 5 to me, even though I do feel like a hamster running on the wheel, but it does provide a sense of like less sources of anxiety, because I'm like, I don't need to do my own schedule and hustle and be wondering about whether I'm gonna like be making money next month or not, if I have clients, or if I have like, if I'm more of like a freelancer, does offer more security. But at the same time, this entrepreneurial mindset might be more fulfilling, but I guess you have to choose.
Yeah, like I've had so many different jobs over the years because I get fired or I just like show up drunk or fucking I don't know what. The only jobs that I've ever liked, like just regular jobs, I've never really had. It's like if I worked at this art supply store and we would all party and like none of us did any work and our friends would come hang out with us and we'd all show up late, and that was probably my favorite. It was like Empire Records but with art supplies, and it was great. And then but yeah, now I'm trying to like infuse more purpose into my into my path, so it is more fulfilling, but it's like a grind. Anyways, I don't even know, I don't even want to talk about work, but that was a good question though.
I think maybe we should go into the juicy theme of ideology. I don't know. What do you think?
Yes, I'm like trying to like
ideology.
Yeah, like how do you relate to the messianistic stacking, or like I don't know, because we were talking about this last night, Farah and I, and just how it kind of might change related to the person's like type or trifix. And like, do you feel like, do you have this like holy purpose or this sort of sermonizing quality? Like, you go on big rants about society, like
I can go on rants, but I know when I can alienate the audience, so I tend to shut up.
Uh-oh. But so are you like conscious of like ideologies at play? Like, do you think you are ideologically focused yourself? Like,
No, I'm more more of an observer, so I see. And I also see it through a competency lens, and I see which things are generally good or bad for people, and it would be more efficient or better in some way if we do it this and that way. But I'm also very aware of that this is colored by my upbringing and ideology which I grew up with. So I know I have a bias, so I'm not very what do you call it? I don't really push my agenda or anything like that because I don't have. I'm not. There's no right and wrong in that case because we all have our personal bias, and I can push my bias, but it doesn't mean mine is the correct one. So
yeah, it's like the most neutral.
Yeah, I try to keep my ideas and in the background, because when I go on a rant and people start glazing their eyes or and change the topic, because I tend to go a little bit in directions where people did not want to go at all, and so yeah, I've done that a couple of times, and then I learned that no, it's I tend to be a conversation killer when that happens.
I think that's the thing. I think that's a shared theme of ruining the vibe at times with certain. I'm not gonna say this is. I think specifically social head, even social suppress specifically, because there is this like urge to like talk, communicate, just like a microphone, and then you have like some kind of I think with 6 it's more like you are pushing it on other people.
Yeah.
You think this is the right way. With 5 it's like you notice that from based on what you said, it's like you notice it but you don't really want to push it, but at least it's at the back of your mind.
Yeah, because it's an observation. I want to say this is observation. Look, it's so obvious, and people are like, I'm not so sure. And then I see the pushback, and I don't care, so I just stop.
Yeah, I feel like 5s can more take the idea of like, these like they're not worth it. Like they won't get it anyway. Maybe like.
Yeah, then there's no point if there's a pushback, because I'm not the one. I don't want to preach because that's not my function at all. If someone understands what I'm getting at, then we can have an interesting conversation. But if they push back, and then it's for me, it's not worth it, because it's not that important for me.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe 6s and 7s feel like, well, I'm like, because I'm a 7, there is like that more live and let live, do whatever the fuck you want, Becky kind of thing. But it's like I feel like I can get like on a big, I can go on massive tangents, like and yeah, I make people super uncomfortable. I feel like though I'm more like a amoralist moralizer, like because my trifix specifically kind of like 749 kind of clashes with social self-pres. Like it's like my whole personality type is based around like freedom of expression, creativity, fun, like do whatever you want, like self-absorption and all this kind of stuff. And then my stacking is like it's like you must, it's like death from above, like you must do the Jordan Peterson stacking. So then I try to like, I almost go on these big rants, you know, I used to go on massive rants about cancel culture and like how it was so stupid and how people were like being brainwashed. And like I feel like a huge calling to like tell, like express to people about like propaganda and like how their minds are being controlled and like and how they're not really even present. And like, so I can get really, I think that's partly why I like all this Enneagram stuff too. It gives me more tools to like sermonize on some level. Wake up, people.
Yeah, regarding that,
Sorry, Matt.
cancel culture. I think it's fascinating. But the thing is, when I start my rant, I will piss off both sides because I disagree with them both. And yeah, but I'm more in the middle anyway. And I think, okay, so no, I know this. I'm in dangerous territory to start a rant myself, so I will stop.
I feel like
Dangerous
I feed
territory.
off the danger. Like the more
Yeah,
I
we should let him talk. You should. Yeah, I
No,
think
no,
we've
no,
said
no, no, no.
we've said terrible things, I think, on this.
Me?
No, I think we've said terrible things on this channel in general, probably.
Oh. I can get, yeah, I can get a bit high on my own supply when I start popping off and I can see people are getting upset. Then I'm sort of just like, yes, now we're gonna have a breakthrough. But if they start going all 6 mode on me and then I just leave. Like I'm just like, all right, like then I kind of can be like, this isn't worth it. Like you're just like not letting anything in and you're reactive and crazy and whatever. So anyway. Obviously, I'm not saying that about Vittoria though, but it's
I'm a mellow 6.
also like 6s with
mellow 6.
1s. And we've
Yeah,
all got 6. So
yeah, we do. But then, okay, what are some non-dangerous ideologies that you would like to like this, you know, like that irritate you or annoy you?
No, I don't.
Are they all dangerous or
the
they're
internet
not
is
worth it?
eternal.
No, I'm just trying to think of specific ideologies that annoys me. No, it's more quirks of people. But I'm not that much annoyed. The thing is, the problem is when you because when you start with typology, right? Then you know why people behave like they do. So I get less annoyed because I understand why they behave like they do. So it's yeah, gaining understanding how people operate makes me less annoyed, because what's the point? Because they are just following the programming. It's not like they can change themselves.
Well, they can.
Yeah, but
They have to want to.
the thing is, you cannot decide it for them, and they have to decide it themselves. So if I get the thing is, if I get annoyed by stuff, right? So either I do something about it or I let it go. So being annoyed, just being annoyed and not do anything with it is kind of pointless, and that's probably because I'm not frustration at all.
Yeah, and you're not reactive either.
No.
Meanwhile,
So
7s are like getting off of it.
yeah, so if I see something and it annoys me, then so either it annoys me enough that I want to do something about it, or I don't. If it's not important enough for me to actually take action against it, then it's not important at all.
Yeah, I need to take the 5 approach. That's more healthy.
But if there are something, I've had this discussion, especially because this happens usually at work because that's where I actually talk with people. So if someone complains and they are saying, "Oh, this does not happen," and I say, "I know how to do it," so yeah, so just give me the admin rights and I will do it myself, and then they they can stop complaining, so I can actually fix it, and then they don't want to have it fixed, and then I say, well, don't talk about it then. I don't want to hear about it then.
If you work with
that's
sixes.
a six thing. That's
Yeah.
a six thing. I have to say, it's terrible. Because six has the complaining, just like head center is just like detached from the other centers, and it's just going like a machine working without being connected to the other parts. So you're just complaining and not doing anything about it. Like which is like not how the other types operate. Yeah, it's not ideal.
Mads, how do you experience your sexual blind spot?
I mean,
well,
but the thing is, you're already 5 as well, so you have your excuse. Like you're already the most sexual blind core type. So sorry.
Yeah, no, don't be sorry.
Hey, you don't know. You don't know.
Don't apologize. Yeah, I don't understand it, so I'm pretty blind.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought I was actually self-pressed blind, but other people was because I didn't understand sexual blind. I thought I was. So when I was talking with a couple of people at Discord, and I was trying to discover what I am, so I asked them if it was possible to be double blind.
Oh, just social alone.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. It's just big social. I feel like I have no self-pres either, but I can see it in terms of the actual stacking itself. I am very sloppy and crazy and chaotic and all these things, but so I thought I might be social sexual for a while, but I think it's just my being a 7.
Yeah, head type 7-6. But I forget stuff, like I'm driving and I don't forget why I'm driving, and then I
can't
drive
even
by
drive.
the part where I should actually stop and park, and I was like, oh yeah, right, that's why I'm here.
I think that's a head type thing, actually. I've been trying to get my license, and it's like so hard to pay attention. Like I just find it so boring that it's like, wow, I really have to be present in this boring Sims game that I'm playing right now so that I don't die or kill anybody. And it's like, yeah, it's like very stressful.
Yeah, driving is terrible for head types, I think, because especially for sixes, because there's a lot of decision making.
Oof, yeah.
And don't ask me to make a decision in the half a millisecond, please.
Oh yeah. If you want to give me directions, tell it 5 seconds before. If you say, oh, turn right there, too late, I cannot change that fast.
Oh my God, I'm
because
the same.
my mind has to actually. So if turn right here, and Anna, if turn right here is to be done in 2 seconds, then no, not happening. I need to know beforehand.
This could be 9 fixed too. It's like delayed gut reaction plus like head type's not really present like in the car.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think 9 cores might be better at this than like someone with a 9 fix. Because yeah, 9 like puts the like a what's the word, like installation on reactions. Yeah, it makes things more sluggish. Damn, I had a question that yeah, like how
You have our list.
Say, yeah, like the interest your interest, like how loose or casual are you with exploring new interests? Do you just like wake up and be like, you know what, today I'll try knitting. I'll see if I can crochet or make scarves. Are you like casual with your interests, or is it more like let's try this new technique?
And
let's
no, I don't wake up and say, let's try something new. That never happens.
Yes.
Like at all.
Yeah, it's not so you don't have this like thirst or hunger or curiosity to like that might be like a shallow way of putting it, of like dabbling in new things. Like it's more like you just digging deeper in your pre-existing interests.
Yeah, basically. So when I get, especially if I get obsessed with something, then that's actually that's the dangerous part. If I get obsessed with something, because then I forget everything around me, because then I only want to do that all the time. Until I either see. So my obsession stops when I see the horizon somewhere in the near future. Then I kind of slowly lose interest. But if I think there is a lot of stuff to discover, new things to learn about, then I can obsess for a long time.
That's interesting. I'm the same.
Yeah, but new stuff, no. But interesting enough, if someone tosses me out somewhere and I'm forced to do stuff, then I can sometimes learn to appreciate new things. Because it doesn't mean if I'm not interested in it beforehand that I won't enjoy it later.
Maybe that's like the big distinction as well between 5 and 7 then, because I can get obsessed and like have tunnel vision and also all that stuff, but I'm always adding new things. But it's all like I get lost in side quests sometimes where I'm like branching out. Like I'm like, oh, this thing over here would help me understand this one thing that I'm kind of sort of focused on in my life path. Like if I learn this, it will help me understand this better. Like, or I can like fold it into the thing I'm already doing. So I always get lost on these sort of side quests as I'm creating this like massive, not to use the 6 word, but a giant map of my understanding, like of reality, of human behavior, of storytelling, of all these like things. It's like I have to be constantly reaching out and then pulling in. Like I'm never, and I guess 5s are more going in.
Yeah,
pushing
definitely.
inward.
Yeah, so I dive as deep as it's possible, and when I see something, I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, let's do that later. And then I continue the diving deeper into the
and I'm like, no impulse control, like do it now.
well, it depends, because sometimes I see something very interesting and I go on a complete tangent, but usually it's, yeah, I mean, I've gone on some Wikipedia tangents where I start somewhere and then I click and click and click and click and click, and then I land somewhere completely else. But it doesn't last as long, and I don't do it really that often.
What about you, Vittoria?
It's okay. I was gonna say, I think with me, like I'm very in the box, and I only started realizing it recently. Like I do not try new things at all. It's like it's shocking to me. Like I'm not like swayed. Like I don't think it online counts, because online is like, yeah, you do get distracted, but like in terms of real life, like hobbies or interests, I think I've had the same like very limited interest for the past decade, and I don't get this impulse to like explore or like try new things, even like with things like softwares, applications, phone. I would like learn what I only need to learn. I wouldn't be curious about what other like things this thing can offer to me, like what other tricks it can do. It's like, no, I'm gonna use it just for what I need to use it for, which like is very limiting in like my everyday life, because then like I miss out on a lot of opportunities. But yeah.
Oh,
It's so good.
I still have my factory background on my phone.
We want to like kind of push into some of these like 5e like kind of distinctions, I guess, a little bit too. Like so like, do you have like an ego investment that you're conscious of like mastering your interest, or like your one specific unique offering, or your obsession, your thing?
And no, actually not. I even tried. Because now I'm in web development. So when I started my job, I had no idea about web development. So I thought it would be a great idea to combine web development with my passion for music. I mean, I'm not. I don't play any instruments. So I had this. At that time, it was one of my favorite bands, and it was a underground band. So I contacted them directly, and I asked them if they wanted to have a web page. And I thought this is the perfect opportunity to learn web development while doing something for your interest. And I started, and I found out I don't like making web pages. So the entire project crashed completely, and I told them, sorry, nothing is going to happen. So actually, but I host their page, and there was only the logo. That's I started, so you can see the logo of the name, and that's it, and nothing more. And I'm now paying for the server to host this logo.
Oh no!
And I'm thinking all the time I should get back to it, but the thing is, I'm not interested in it at this moment. And at that time, I was interested in objective personality, so that took my time. I have problems diversifying my interest. I'm very one lane interest kind of guy, and now I can diversify. So for typology, it was objective personality. Now it's Enneagram. And then I have usually one band that takes most of my time, and other music is kind of listen now and then to them. But yeah, I try to get other influences into my life, but if I'm not motivated, I don't do it at all. And so I don't try to get more skills. But I think that's a more self-press thing to do, right? Or is it a 5 thing to do? I don't know.
Well, it's like kind of like, because it's like 5's like the competency. And I think like mastery and all that is kind of attributed to 5, like mastering one specific thing on their life path, like their unique offering. But I think that's more 5 wing 4.
I
So
have a
that's kind
theory,
of, I want to push into this.
I have also a theory, but you
like,
can go
because
first,
I feel like
Vittoria.
it's like, I feel like it's kind of like fucked the understanding of 5. Like I've been on this quest to understand 5 versus 7 for over 2 years now, but it's like, I feel like it's more 5 wing 4 that has the ego investment in their unique thing that they're putting towards the world over 5 wing 6.
I'll say
Sorry.
my theory. So my theory is that the word mastery has been attributed to 5 by non-5s, because it's like 5 just wants to dig deeper and like know everything there is to know about something, like reach the horizon, as Matt said. And then through that, they become masters at something. But I don't think mastery is their intention. It's like, well, if all this is like feeding your head and your joy, it's like kind of triggering an emotional part of their brain, like just digging deeper and deeper. I think there's something like this. I need to revisit it, like connection of the emotional center and the head center for 5s. That's not their aim. They don't want to look at all these things to be a master, but outsiders think that's their aim. Like so the end product of all this is them becoming masters, but that was not their intention. That's like just the byproduct of digging deep for like 10 years and you become a master at something, but that was not their original intention.
I think that some of them do have that intention. Like if you look at Robert Greene, like he literally has a book on mastery, on how to master. Like I've read it a few times, because like I have the problem of that, the proverb of like, you chase 2 rabbits, you don't catch either. Like with the 7, I get too many splits.
Yeah.
So I try to like go, like, I guess like before I knew Enneagram, I was trying to line to 5 myself. I honestly do feel like I want to master a specific thing that I've been trying to master with my multitude of side quests for like over a decade. I just kind of quietly do it in the background, because when I started putting it out there and doing something with it, everyone ruined it around me. They were started, you know, it was like emails, questions, read this, read that, like and looking at me like an expert. And I was like, okay, I want to master this, but that's the fun part, is the process. Like, and now I've ruined it by accidentally expressing that I know stuff about something, and now all these people want things from me. I don't know.
What was your theory?
Yeah, so the thing is about fives, because I'm also interested in cognitive functions and MBTI. I started with MBTI and then went to objective personality, but it's kind of the same thing. Generally, it's not the same thing, but they address the same stuff. So, and the thing, I'm not sure if you have seen. I'm not sure, Larissa. I don't think you're in the Enneagram or Facebook group, right?
No, they've banned me.
They banned you. Why?
Because I photoshopped Emeka's head onto like a naked body, and I wrote erotica about him and John.
Sorry, Mads. That was too much for the poor guy.
No, that's funny. No, that's funny.
But well, it's not only that. It was just but this is the cherry on top, I think.
Okay.
Hence why we have our own podcast now.
Yeah.
I will not be cut off from my social teat while I'm still trying to learn something. There's still much juice to be drawn on this topic.
Holy moly.
Okay, you need to fill me in on that later. But anyway, yeah, so because I'm not, do you know subjective personality? It's a homepage from someone in objective personality, and he's connected to two databases, one for the objective personality and one from the Enneagrammer database.
Is that Rob?
Yeah, Rob.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then you can search for the types, and you can search for persons who have been typed in both systems. So I've been comparing, because I'm trying to see if there are some patterns, if there are similarities, which personality for one type can be mapped to other one. And what I found out is you cannot, but there are clusterings. And especially for the fives, I found out that fives, very many INTPs are fives. Or let's say many fives are INTP. Do you know MBTI?
Yeah, that's how I got into it too. Actually, how I got into it was my ex-boyfriend was like, he thought he was being coy, and he tricked me into doing a narcissistic personality test. And it turns out he's the narcissist, not me. But then it sort of weirdly led me into this pathway that led me into Myers-Briggs type. And then I was like, oh, it's me. I'm an INTP, which I'm obviously not. And then that led me into Enneagram. And then I was like, I'm a 5-wing 4, which I'm not. Yeah, that was my pathway anyway.
Yeah. So INTP. So what I think is happening is that a lot of fives, a lot of descriptions of fives are coming from INTP fives. But but I would say INTP is a flavor of five, but other flavors, because INTP are thinking types. And they are especially into mastering, because they want to understand, they want to figure out. But there are also other fives who have not TI, they have FI, and they do stuff that are more fun, that they find interesting, that they like Daniel Radcliffe, for example, he is an ENFP, so he has FI, and I think that a lot of the descriptions are describing the INTP 5s, but they are applying INTP specific things to the 5s, which are not 5 specific. So the 5s are there is a general pattern for 5s, but often they are mixed with the behaviorism from INTPs. Also, that is a reason why a lot of 5s, a lot of 9s are typing themselves as 5s, because I checked INTPs, which types are the most, which Enneagram types are, so I tried to find out, so INTP, the Enneagram types which are most present in INTP are 5s and 9s. So 5s and 9s have similarities, and so that is why there's a lot of INTPs see themselves in the file description, but they are seeing the INTP parts of the file description. And I think the file descriptions are too broad. They need to be narrowed even more down. And a lot of the, for example, this what do you call it, the mastery part, I think that's just a flavor of 5, but it's not necessary in every 5.
Yeah. It's like a preoccupation for me though. So I'm wondering if that's maybe related to the NTP part. Cause I'm either ENTP or ENFP. I have no fucking idea. I kind of lost interest once I started hooking myself into Enneagram, which had more exciting psychological stuff for me. But that's interesting. Maybe it's sorry.
No, continue.
I'm just rambling. I'm processing thoughts out loud.
I was gonna ask Mads, are you familiar with the philosopher Slavoj Žižek?
Could you repeat that?
Are you familiar with the Slovenian philosopher Slavoj Žižek?
No.
He sounds like Porky Pig.
No. I'm trying to. I'm terrible with understanding names by hearing. I need to read them.
Oh, I can tell.
But he doesn't sound familiar at all.
I can write his name in the chat.
He's like a slobby, sweaty, grotesque, like motor mouth.
No, I don't know. Don't know him out.
Because he's a 5. He's typed. I can't remember if he's officially typed as 5.6. I
think he's typed.
He's a very interesting 5 because he's very. I wouldn't say he's an INTP for sure. He's like something extroverted, probably like ENFP. So yeah, I would have been interested if you also knew him and like had a type in mind for him as a non-INTP 5.
No.
Yeah. So you think introverted thinking as a function aligns with the like the stereotypical 5, like in terms of processing data?
Yes. Because the thing is, Rob's database is very limited because it depends on data, and he has sparse data. But I think there are clusterings. I'm just doing small, So because of the clustering of INTPs around 5s, I think the INTP 5s are usually the ones being described. Because I'm not INTP. INTJ is probably the closest thing to describe what I am, but I'm not quite that either. I actually looked in the database at the stereotypical INTJ. None of them are 5s in the database.
Huh. Yeah, because I would associate INTJ with 5 as well. Do you have theories about like extroverted intuition 5s?
You mean an E?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like that's where I can get confused because I've been really trying to like nut out the differences, and it's like if there are NEDOM 5s, what the fuck is the difference between that and a 7? Like that's where I'm sort of, I don't really want to go back into the cognitive stuff, but I'm also like conscious of the fact that
there are no NE doesn't say anything at all. you can. No, I'm not going to check now, but Daniel Radcliffe is an NEFI, an ENFP,
Yeah.
so he has NE, and he was typed as a 5. And
do you agree?
I don't know.
Yeah. He's a
I
confusing
cannot agree
one.
with anything at the moment because I don't
Not
really
enough
know.
data.
Yeah, like later. I don't know. I've never met any 5s. I don't think so.
Aw, lonely 5. Never met other
Oh yeah,
5s.
perhaps I met perhaps I met someone. I couldn't tell because
I would assume there'd be like a lot of 5s in Germany for some reason. Like, it seems like a very like austere culture, like a very
no, I think they're all 6s. Because they always want to tell me what's right and wrong.
I mean, Germany is the most bureaucratic country in the world, so I think 6s invented bureaucracy.
6 with 1 wing.
Yeah.
6s
6
invented bureaucracy.
1 stems are like yeah, it's hard. It's a unpleasant combo. Sorry to anybody out there.
So back to, I have another question I wanted to ask Mads, like, because you have a 3 fix and you have social, when you interact with people, do you ever think about things in the perspective or the lens of what can I offer them? Like, or do I have something to offer to these people? Is there something I need to well, maybe prove is a bad word, but because like as a 6 with a 3 and a social, there is this thing where my competency and my general image, image expression is kind of related to other people. Like for example, I'm being very honest here, it's disgusting, but I'll be honest. Like I don't want I don't mind if I'm stupid or dumb, but I do not want other people to see me as stupid or dumb. Like my competency is not for myself, it's more of a directed at other people. So because you're a 5, like you're not an attachment type, it's this whole like intellectual mental thing is just solely for you, just an emotional enjoyment almost. Do you ever think in that way, like what can I give these people, what do they expect from me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can differentiate between Hexer and attachment. So being seen as incompetent, it depends. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, So to be falsely interpreted as incompetent is what I don't like to be. That's people are. It also very much depends on who. And I think that's a social instinct, because if someone who is in, yeah, because I think every social dominant have a social rank. They use perhaps different criteria to rank people, but I think so if someone in my social ranking system, whatever it is, if I see them as unimportant and they say I'm stupid or something like that, I was like, oh, well, you have no idea, so I'm going to ignore that.
Yeah.
And but I don't like being misinterpreted. That when I have done something and they see that as incompetent because they don't understand what I've done, or they misinterpret what I've done, then I get annoyed. If I actually did a mistake and they see it was a mistake, well, then I own up to it. But I don't like being seen as incompetent either. So, but yeah. It is hard because sometimes I was like, okay, yeah, my mistake, I will do better next time. Other times, because sometimes I know why I did a mistake and I couldn't because I was just not good enough. But sometimes I do mistakes because I'm sloppy, and being sloppy is something I try to avoid, and I find it embarrassing when I have done something sloppy, and it was a mistake that cost something, then that is when I actually feel something like, oh, I wish no one sees this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a good thing, though. That's an interesting point. You said that even as a 5, you do have a awareness, or you do apply a hierarchical system to like social situations or contexts, you know, or communities. Because I think like that's only something a 6 would do, or something like at a workplace, in a friend group, in a Facebook group. Even you do like, I think 6s, or maybe with the social, like you immediately focus on like, who's the boss here, who are the ministers, who are the cheerleaders, you know. You do have this awareness of like,
that does sound 6. But like, I don't know, I interpret it as social self-pres, like, there's people, like that's what I have too, where it's like, why would I care what that person thinks? It's more like that elitist kind of hierarchy system. Not,
I have a hierarchy, but when I go in, when I enter work, so I see people, so I don't care about what position they have. I only care about what they can actually bring me. So if I see someone who actually knows what he's doing, then he is higher in the ranking system, even than someone else who has no idea. Even if the one is the lowest pay, who has the lowest pay, and the other one is the chef, is the chief or the CEO or whatever. I have more respect for the one who actually knows his stuff.
oh yeah, totally.
So I order them by competency. So my social rank is not the society social rank. It's my own internal system. And also if I just appreciate what they're doing.
Interesting. I do that too.
So
not like competency rank so much as like, this is the person who knows. I guess that is a competency thing maybe, but this is the person who knows the most. This is the person whose opinions hold the most weight to me because they're thought out, considered.
Yes,
yeah, I don't
exactly.
think about people in terms of jobs or positions.
When I started, there was this one guy, right? And I think he is in 6-1. So he was constantly, he was everywhere. And he was making comments everywhere and say, why do you do that? And I was really annoyed. Yeah, so I was annoyed with him, right? But then I thought about it. Wait, he isn't actually trying to piss me off or anything. He just cares about everything in the company. So I just rearranged that in my head. So, okay, I have to interpret this guy as someone who likes to have a good running system. So when I fixated that in my head, I started to appreciate him. And I thought, well, if I and this is definitely my social dominance. I need to get on his, well, I didn't think I need to get on his good side, but I thought, okay, I will give him some slack. Don't be annoyed with him because he is not meaning it personally at all. And then I did actually correct everything he said, because it was correct, because what he said was actually true, and it would improve the parts he made comments. So I started to even say, oh, thank you for noticing that. And I learned that when you show appreciation for what people do, then they are very much more no, I only know the German word. They are more appreciative, but in a way that they will listen more to you, and they will involve you more in what's happening in the company. So I try not to piss off as many people as possible, and I try the ones I have the feeling they just want to make the best, and that means they are somehow competency driven, then I try to get on the good side. Well, or let's say I try not to get on their bad side. But sometimes when people, sometimes I cannot help myself, because when I see snarky comments, I give snarky comments back. And it doesn't matter if he is the grand tech lead or anything, I will give a snarky comment back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Learning lesson for 5. People like appreciation.
Yeah, 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 perhaps it's more obvious for a lot of people, but I notice
No,
stuff,
I know
you
that was
know,
snarky of me, but
no, no, I don't see. The thing is, I seldom get personally attacked or feel that people. Well, earlier when I was younger, I was much more what do you call it? Sensitive. I felt every time when people were criticizing me, they were criticizing me directly, and I felt like I don't know. I was more sensitive with criticism before, but now I learned to see that criticism is growing. We can grow by actually following. But when several people are saying the same thing, so that must be something in it. So it's better to try to analyze what they're saying and see if you can improve yourself accordingly.
Sometimes it's also just them projecting their own bullshit onto you too. So
Yeah, of course. I mean, I see that, and because I see that if how they operate with others, right? So I try to see what is their general vibe. Why do they do that? I also try to see if they have an agenda or not. If they just are doing it competency wise, just saying it as it is. If they're just saying it as it is, then I am okay with it. But if they're trying to do some political stuff internally in a company, then I then they go down in my ranking system.
I wonder if that's a head type with social thing too. I'm like always keenly aware of people's hidden agendas. I figured it was wing 6 social stuff, but it's like are you kind of always like that, like while it's happening or something, or thinking about it after, it's like, oh, that person was trying to like manipulate me, or I can see that person's buttering that person up to get this thing, or like, do you do those sort of social dramatic the theatrical aspect of the social kind of through that lens? Or
I can see it and I was like, oh, that's interesting, and I just mentally note it, but I don't really care.
oh, I get invested in it.
Oh no, I know I don't get invested in it at all, because they can do their theater stuff as much as they want, as long as they don't involve me, and I can do my stuff alone in peace.
Yeah.
And interesting why that you say this, because in my current job there is so much politics going on, but it's all happening above me
Yeah.
and not including me. So, but I get everything. So I notice, because people like to talk. So people talk about this to me all the time, and telling me this and this and this is happening and that is happening, and then they get annoyed, and I'm just, oh well, and I talk a little bit with them, but I don't really care.
I feel like I start to like, I feel like I almost conceive like a chessboard in my mind of people, and it's like I can see where they're moving, and then I like try to start imagining where they're trying to go, and like how this
Yeah,
is going to play out, and like how
yeah,
it's going to affect this person and that person, and
yeah.
like
I mean, that's fun. That can, that's kind of a fun thing to think about. Well, I don't get emotionally involved. I find it
yeah.
fascinating. But you're right. I
Yeah, it's
like
just
actually.
like fun to imagine and predict and make like little internal bets. Like, I bet you any money that's what that bitch is up to. Like,
Yeah, I like to know where the chess pieces are.
do you
But
do that too, Vittoria?
yeah, I do that, but it's I feel like it's like I am also aware of competency, like who's running the show, who's whatever. But I, again, because 6, there's still this element of like oh well, I have to get on the good side of the boss or whatever, even if they're like
Oh,
don't know what the hell they're doing.
you participate in the chessboard.
A little bit, because but inside of me I'm like, oh, I hate this. I wish I could just just push against all of it. But I'm certainly against bootlicking for sure. I cannot do it. I don't even understand people who ask for raises. Like I can't even do that. I just
oh, you
find it like
can't.
No, it's a terrible thing. Like I don't even have the capacity to ask for a raise because I think it's so beneath me, even if I do deserve the raise.
Interesting. No, I'm not actually I'm not good in asking for raise, but but I actually asked for raise like half a year ago, and I got it.
Good for you.
And yeah, because I was like, I thought, well, I can ask for raise because why not? And the worst thing can happen is that I don't get it.
No, the worst thing is rejection here. Like I feel like that will affect me on like a, I don't know. Anyways, well, we're getting into too much HR.
Yeah, but I somehow feel a certain self, what do you call it, importance. Because if they don't give me a raise, well, I can always check other. I don't say that to them, but people.
And always to move to somewhere else, you mean?
Yeah, I can move to somewhere else, but I don't want to because my work is like 500 meters away. So yeah, I could actually walk there, but I'm too lazy, so I go. So I go by bike. So from the kitchen to my office chair takes 5 minutes.
Nice.
So
So
I'm not even gonna bring up my own commute.
So
like
I'm not going to say that. Well, I actually said it, but I shouldn't, because if they know that I really want to stay there, then they probably wouldn't give me as much raise. But the thing is, people are leaving People are leaving in droves, and I'm interestingly enough one of the more competent people there, so I know they want to keep me. So that's
you have
probably also
leverage.
why I got a raise. But yeah,
That's funny
Leverage.
what you just said, because I've always had a thing about I like with the exception of like one job, I've basically just had jobs where I can walk or bike there too, where it's like quick and I can just roll up, like out of bed and just like roll into the thing. I've even had like relationships where I'm like, if the like I dated this one guy who lived down the street from me. And as soon as I moved to the other side of the city, it was like we basically just broke up like very slowly because I was like, well, now it's like all this effort to go see him. And he was the 6'5", and I think he felt the same. And we were both just like, yeah, like this is too much work now. Like I wonder if that's partly like a head typey, although far as commutes like fucking 7 hours a day or something. So
people who commute, I don't understand people who commute
it's
long.
horrifying.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
smelling people's genitals, like everyone's breath. You're like, they're like touch you, they sit
Oh
near
God.
you. They're like chubby, like pressing their wet thigh against you. It's like fucking disgusting. I'm sorry.
Holy God. Very, very picturesque. Oh my
yeah,
God.
interesting. I know when I commute, everybody because I commute with train, everybody were not there, non-existent. I
God,
was
I'd
just
love to be
putting
on a
on
German
my
train.
on my headphones and either I played something or watched a movie, and then I ignore people. I'm very good at ignoring people.
Sometimes it's hard to do that.
I also just find commuting existentially like you're sitting in the in-between moment between like having your freedom and then like having to go be like a fucking worker bee. And it's like, why am I even alive? This is so horrifying. And you're just sitting in it for like an hour, just like if you can distract yourself or like work on something, like write or draw or do something. But then if you do that, people will start looking over your shoulder. Oh, what's that? And
It's hard. Yeah, I'm trying to stop myself because I complain about commuting every single day, so I'm not gonna do it today.
your commute is horrendous. Like I can't believe you've stuck it out for so long.
I would love to live in Europe where public transit is amazing. Instead of waiting I waited outside on Friday for 2 hours. My bus didn't come. 4 buses came. Every single bus rejected me for whatever reason, or the bus didn't even show up.
Oh, oh,
yeah, there was a bus where you can cut this part out. There was a bus to the driver that was like, sorry, I'm only allowed to have 7 people standing, so I cannot take you. And then he left. I'm like, what kind of bullshit like what kind of law is this? And then the bus before it was like literally a sardine can.
Yeah,
I hate like
racist.
cowardly. I don't think it was racist.
Sexist.
There was
Cancel
like
them. I know
there
their
was
badge
3
number and cancel them.
there was 3 other people with me, so it's like he rejected all of us. I was the only I think my 9 wall just broke then because I started yelling at him a bit.
Oh.
Anyways, which I never do.
Oh, goody goody.
Oh my God. Yeah, we can, there's another 5 question we can ask, Mads. Maybe this is a 514 thing. Like, how do you like relate to this thing about 5s having to like have their own like unique insights? Like the words unique or original, does this like speak to you, or is not where you're aiming for when it comes to your diving?
Oh, no, I don't aim for it, but I relish it when I'm able to have an insight no one else has.
This
But
is
you
good.
don't have
Okay.
like an ego investment in it, like
I mean, it's hard to see your
perhaps
own
a little
ego.
bit, but it's not that important. But when I discover something, I was like, oh, no one knows this, and then I dive deeper, and then that's when I get the most obsessed. If I find out something which I haven't seen anywhere, and then I try to compare, then I draw on all sources I find, and then usually I find, oh, well, someone actually has already discovered this exact same as me. And I was like, oh, no, it's not so interesting anymore.
yeah, I have the same thing too. And that's why I've been trying to figure out the 5 versus I have a 4 fix though, but yeah, it's like ruined if somebody else already did it. Or the worst is like you discover somebody else is this having the same kind of realization or the same ideas for me creatively around the same time you are, and it's like I kind of just fantasize about choking them to death. But
no, I don't have that that reaction. I was like, first I was like, oh, well, then I cannot impress anyone with my superior knowledge. But okay. Now also like, but I found it out on my own without reading about it from someone else. So I still find some satisfaction just in the exercise. But it's also a little bit disappointing that I did so much work and someone already has done it before me.
Yeah. Do you keep burrowing to like churn up your own original insight after that, or like you said, you lose interest? Like does it just all the work disappear?
Just poof, it's gone.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Okay, I'll keep pushing to try to like figure out a way to like climb over or make the other person irrelevant or the other insight irrelevant.
Oh,
like
okay.
somehow
No, I don't
maybe
care
that's a
about that at all.
frustration thing. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of anecdotal stuff, but I've been trying to really figure out the differences between 5 and 7 in a way that like is kind of like definitive. It's very frustrating.
So the difference between 7 and 5 and why 7 go more broad and 5 go more deep. So we call it breadth first and depth first. In programming is something I'm not sure if you know about it.
Oh, that's interesting.
If you can we call it search algorithms. So you call it breadth first or depth first. Those are 2 quite different search or sorting algorithms in computer science, I probably go by the depth first strategy and you the breadth first. But we come they both come to the same conclusion, but in different ways.
Yeah.
And some strategies are better in certain situations than others. So it depends on the topic. And so the reason why I think fives go much more in depth is because of the rejection, because rejection rejects everything which is not, we can ignore things existing, and it really is just disappearing from the head completely. And it may even appear later, and that's what it's why the fives are so good in focusing and going deeper, is because they ignore things left and right, because the rejection is kind of the tool for keeping them steady on course in one specific direction and go deeper and deeper. And when they kind of hit a wall, then then everything they had rejected until then may come back again, and they can take a look on what they have rejected.
That's a very clarifying frame, the way you just framed that. Because like yeah, I know that like I go broad to go deeper. Like I see everything and then I begin whittling. But the frame of like rejecting everything to like to service the one pathway and then opening up to see other things, that's actually very helpful. Thank you. That makes total sense. Because yeah, I feel like I do tunnel vision, but it's only after I've sort of had like made sure I've got like the most sparkly thing or the most interesting resonant thing, and then I'll go down into it. But I have to like look at everything first.
Yeah.
Like,
because that's what I think frustration is doing. They are looking, what's not working, that's not working. So what else is not working? That's also not working. So what is not working? So they go check everything which is not working. And then when I'm just theorizing, and so when they've hit the wall in the breath, then they go deeper.
yeah.
So they hit different walls. One is going down and one is going to the sides.
I like that.
So when you hit a wall I don't see anything which annoys me. I need to go deeper. What annoys me in this path?
Oh my God. I have like gonna have to like observe that. Yeah, I do tend to like tunnel into, instead of, it's like I don't pick the easiest thing where I'm like, oh, that's the easiest path. I'm like, no, I have to really push into this other thing because I don't really quite grasp it, or I don't quite.
Because it annoys you more.
Yeah, because it's frustrating.
It frustrates you more. So you need to know, why does this frustrate me more than anything else?
Yeah, and it feels like more meaningful and important because I'm getting some kind of juice out of it, some kind of pattern juice. Oh man, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love that. Ooh, much to gnaw on.
About the width and breadth thing, I'm trying to think how sixes do it. I think sixes, or at least for me, like I do have this I'm gonna go about doing this in one way. Like I feel like there's only one way to do something. Like a familiar way, or the way to do it. I don't know where this conviction comes from. And then I do it that way, and then I realize, oh boy, this is probably not the best way to do it. But I realized that midway, like I need to almost drive on the same road every time, and then go to turn right or left only when something doesn't work. But I feel like I don't know if that makes sense, like impressionistically at least.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like it feels like there's a natural way to do something. It could be also back to the functions. I could have introverted sensing. SI could be like it could be related to that. Like this is the typical way to do this. Maybe not classically or for everyone, but at least for me.
And then the 7 has the FOMO option. Like, no, there's always options. There is not just one way. And I want to know all the options so that I can get the one that will give me the most juice.
Yeah.
Like it's a problem. If I can't even buy anything without spending like 3 hours like but maybe there's a better one. Maybe there's like this one's gonna be the right one. Like it's like a horrible. It's like applied to everything in my life, except for the things I don't want to think about, and then I just make a split decision. Anyways, sorry, Matt.
No. So every core type, 3, 6, and 9, they are kind of the combination of the other ones in some way. So 5 and 7 are more specialized in specific directions, and the 6 is kind of combining those in some way. You have a positive and a negative, and then you have the combination, which is something, but it's not a combination, it's kind of the result of both of those. So if it is not a combination, it is not doing both, it is the result of both. So if you have done the depth and you have done the breadth, and then you know the optimal way, and then that's the 6, that's the result. And so now you're going through the known path, which has been
proved
optimized.
Before.
And 6 knows, which is because 6 sees what is the real is more attuned to what is actually real, what is actually happening, and what is actually working. So so the like 7 has done their stuff, and the 5s have done their stuff, and 6 is kind of okay, this is not what's happening, but it's kind of reaping the result.
Yeah, the like the collective.
The 6 gets the benefit.
Fuck 6s.
No, I mean, the world is built by 6s. You have to understand that. We build this world. It's built by 6s for 6s. But yeah, we do have this amalgamation of like what has the collective tried, what have the 5s and 7s tried, and what has worked, what has failed. Like if you be like, oh, 5s and 7s are the innovative ones, they're the ones that creating new stuff or taking new paths. Well, we're just gonna use their experiences to find out what actually works in the like what's a trustworthy way.
Yeah, no, but 6 triangulates the path which has been used, and they use the best one.
Maybe 6s traumatized other 6s, and that thus begot the 5s and 7s. The 7s didn't want all of their great ideas being harvested by the 6s, so they spiral off into oblivion, moving so fast the 6s can't keep up, and the 5s burrow down and away from the 6s so they can't get their gold. 6s is the problem.
5s are groundhogs and 7s are birds, and we're just like, I don't know, some kind of annoying.
And 6s are the hunters, so they shoot whatever.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
I've been cooking up a little theory here. Mads, are you aroused by intelligent social criticism? Like, does it actually physically arouse you to hear like a scathing, review of something, or someone just level another person with their verbal wit, I don't know.
Like beating someone up verbally, like wittiness.
Yeah. The social critique.
I mean, he didn't answer yes right away, so it probably
No, probably not.
No, okay.
No. But no.
Because I think 7s have this like they like shitting on things, they like going at things with a hammer. So I think reactives and frustrations might be more turned on by like criticism, wittiness. I think 5s might not enjoy it as much, I feel.
Well, sometimes I like to be surprised. So when people are suddenly say something completely out of the left field, and it is even better if it's politically not correct but made in a funny way, then I tend to laugh hard.
Oh.
Yes.
Maybe we should have a non-recorded discussion.
You'll never get it out of the 5.
But I am glad that he did say he does feel a sense of social superiority sometimes.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, I mean, sometimes I just feel better than everyone.
I think
then,
it's like because also like head types feel like they don't know enough, so it's like we're always overcompensating in some way.
Yeah, but it's
so
oscillating between feeling superior, and then I feel I don't know anything, and then
yeah, same. And so it's like the biggest diss. I mean, because I know it's a big diss, I've like tapped on it, and you can't crush me with these assertions anymore. But it's like making a head type feel intellectually inferior is definitely like a kick to the crotch, if you will. So
yeah, definitely.
I think that we like can do it to other people as like an insult, where it's like, well, you're just a stupid. You don't know anything. Because I think that that's also a thing, is that people often lob the criticisms at others that they most don't want to hear, like if they're trying to insult them. So, but I mean, a lot of people are fucking stupid. So,
yeah, I mean, that's given.
Meanwhile, the 6, like, no, that's not a nice thing to say. We're all trying. No, I do feel that for sure.
Well, 6s get the most like horny off praise for how intelligent they are, though. They're like,
probably because it's like some kind of approval, unfortunately, some kind of approval from the collective.
I always feel weird when I get praised. Because I'm not like, and I just learned to say thank you, and that's it. Yeah, I found out that's the most appropriate thing to say, because because I cannot say, well, that's not, no, don't say that, because that's also sounds stupid. So thank you is probably the best one, and then you don't need to talk about it ever again.
Yeah, I think maybe praise does not register as like it registers differently for a 5 than, let's say, a 6 or a 9. Let's be honest.
it like depends on the person. For me, like if I don't care about their opinion, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Or if I don't like respect them or anything, or if I dislike them and they say something flattering, then I'm instantly sort of like, gross. Like, now I got praise from this fucking loser. Now I'm clearly doing something fucking wrong. Then I have to like reassess my entire fucking life. But
yeah, sometimes some people are also saying, oh, you're the best. And I was like, yeah, but you've said it 93 times now. Now it's 94.
Yeah, your praise is cheap.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
You
just want to talk.
Everything I read about Enneagram is very often anecdotes, and anecdotes are just examples. I need to feel the people. I need to see the people. I need to understand the people. I need to try to see the pattern myself, because I don't trust the anecdotes, a lot of the anecdotes in the type descriptions I read everywhere.
Yeah, some of them are just total abortions.
I have found out that chestnut is worthless. So
oh yeah, like
yeah.
descriptions of like,
we were talking about it last night.
Yeah,
literally the most useless one.
Which I didn't like, I used to read her when I first started, but yeah, Myers-Briggs, like, or MBTI, it's more like robotic feeling. Like it doesn't feel as humanistic. Like I don't feel like I'm understanding human behavior. I'm just seeing mechanisms. Like I'm just seeing.
It's like a computer game.
Yeah,
I'm just learning the rules for a computer game, and it's not real.
Yeah, an Enneagram I feel like is more tapping into like life path and like the hero's journey, like every person's kind of like life path to growth and like their wounds and like all of these more kind of interesting visceral
mythology,
like story related. Yeah, I think that's how it captured me, was like I can really feel the application. It's like 5-dimensional storytelling. It's like you're tapping into, you can rewrite your own life story or just like enhance your own life story by understanding these methods or these systems. Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing that kind of captured me with Enneagram was learning how rejection type works, because I saw something in me that I didn't really notice before, and I kind of then I tried to reapply what I knew with how I've been living or interacting with people, and I understood most of how I have been connecting with people, or the lack of connection, why I don't connect with people, because how I can, it's kind of banal to say it, but like Friends, the TV series Friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a simple example, and you'll see like Chandler and Joey, how they are friends, and then they can just crash at each other. I never understood why I never found someone I could do that with. And then when I learned about the rejection type, I really found out it's because of myself. That's not kind of connection I can make, because I reject those types of casual, deeper connection with people. And so I noticed that's a flaw in me that I kind of knew, but I couldn't put a word on it.
Yeah. Are you like kind of past, like, are you trying to like move out of those patterns, or are you like taking steps to test like the waters of?
Yeah, I'm trying. I was actually I went to a concert 2 months ago alone with no one else. It was the first concert I went to for over a decade, and because I thought I just need to do a crashing into a lot of people and see what happens. I didn't get any connections. I actually forgot to bring, because I haven't been on a concert for a long time, so I forgot to bring earplugs. So I had to leave the concert.
Oh no.
Disaster.
Because the decibel level was too much for me. So anyway, but I even tried to get my colleagues to come with me, and that's not something I usually do proactive. Usually I'm the one who gets invited. Well, I hope to get invited. No, hope is the wrong word, because I don't hope to get invited. But
Yeah, as Shane says, he has joy of missing out instead of
yeah,
FOMO.
because if I don't get
JOMO.
invited, I was like, well, I was better alone anyway. So I don't miss those, but perhaps I do miss those, but I don't know about it.
I think 9-3 STEM does at least make you conscious of like, oh, I've never had those sort of connections, or even social. I think maybe I don't know, a 5-wing no, sorry, 5-1 something or 5-8 something might be like less will feel like less like they're not missing out. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't feel sad or anything like that. It's like,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
notice it, and but I'm not unhappy about the
Yeah.
situation. But I now think perhaps I can live a fuller life if I just try, at least see what happens. If it doesn't go anywhere, well, at least I tried.
Yeah.
So we've discussed before how people use their dominant instinct to like fulfill what the core type wants.
Mm-hmm.
So like social can help create alliances, create sense of security, increase like level of like knowing what to do, knowing what's the best course of action to take, which will give like the core six security. 7 social also will provide some well, Larissa can talk about it, like the social juice, to keep like to fuel, the 7's thirst for, like entertainment or excitement or stimulation. But how do you see this with social with 5? Is it just, I think you already kind of mentioned that you're just looking for people to feed your interest, your very hyper specific interests.
Yeah, so I like board games like quite a lot, and playing alone is boring. So I like to play with others, but I also like to. I'm very competitive, so I like to win. So I need other people to that I can crush in board games.
Wow, I think his is very like very literal. Like, I like board games. I need people to play the board game. So
Yeah, yeah. And well, it is also a simple example, but I also watch reaction videos of bands I like,
interesting.
and I think could be the social instinct, because I like, when you heard your favorite band for the first time, right? And then you experience some kind of, oh, why haven't I heard this one before? And I like to see that kind of experience that feeling again by watching reaction videos, and it's kind of nostalgic way to relive your own feeling you had when you heard
Interesting.
specific band for the first time. Some people I heard about, because there are a lot of discussion about reaction videos. Oh, people are just trying or just want to validate their feelings, but no, that's a very simple way to explain it.
Yeah.
For me, it is actually, it is also kind of the same when I have my with my son. And when he is watching a movie for the first time, and I watch my favorite movies with him, and when he enjoys them, I've kind of reliving my feelings through him again,
Aw.
which is quite nice. And yeah.
Aw.
This feels like some sort of like outsourcing, like doing the emotional work. Like, I don't know how to explain it. There's
Yeah,
probably
could be.
some more
No,
sophisticated
that
way to
sounds
explain it.
pure and
Like,
beautiful to
no,
me.
you can see it. No, yeah, you can see it in two ways. Like, you can see it as I think just because he's a 5, it makes it seem more like I can't create this experience inwardly, so I'm gonna resource it to like an external source kind of thing.
Could be.
Anyways,
Perhaps. I don't know.
Well, you're also bonding over your like shared like interests or whatever too. So it's like it's like a way
yeah,
to
with the kid it's a little
connect.
bit different. Yeah, with the kid it's a bit different because it's like there's a more like a pure kind of more instinctual thing, just bonding with your kid.
Yeah. Yeah, because I also interacted with the people reacting, but when they react to other bands, I don't care. I don't because they have, of course, their own YouTube and they watch a lot of other things. But I was like, no, I don't. That's not interesting at all.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, and I try to actually connect with some of those and try to get a deeper connection, but I think that's probably because of my type structure. I am very compartmentalized. How do you say it?
Compartmentalized.
Compartmentalized, and I cannot connect to those outside that one thing we share. So when they share other stuff, I was like, oh, well, okay, I'm time out. You can do whatever you do, and then we can connect again when we are talking about stuff I like.
So what like happens to you actually? Because I mean, I can get like that too. I bet it's more like this feeling of being held hostage. Like it's a frustration that rises where it's more if it's boring. I don't care if it's not my interest, if it's interesting, but if it's boring and they're just rambling on about something,
Oh
then
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, that is true. Because one guy at the work, he really likes to talk a lot. But he sometimes talk about interesting stuff which I never knew about, and he has a way to phrase it so it makes it interesting. But he cannot talk too long because then I also lose interest. But don't, I never find him really annoying, because it is kind of my way to learn stuff which I didn't really know about.
And like what happens like in your brain, I guess, like when he's telling you like interesting things, are you like, I feel like when people do that to me, I'm like a little magpie. I'm just like, oh, poink, like, oh, I'm gonna go investigate that later, or like, oh, I can use that in a story, or like, poink, like.
No, I don't. The thing is, I don't do that at all. But I like, oh, he gave me something new, but this is not in my focus now at all. But I'm saving it. Perhaps I will can need I need it later for something. But usually I don't go investigating it.
I had like a realization from what you were saying earlier, like because I also like really I find it way harder to connect with people if we don't have like shared interests. Like I mostly just seek out connections through my interests. Like that's usually how I make friends and stuff. But I feel like I also have to be, it's like it has to be the right people, the right circumstances. Like it has to be the sort of thing that I realize is actually more frustration, I think, than because it's like otherwise I feel like this profound sense of disappointment and lack when like I might be getting like my interest part sort of fed, but if it's not with like the the right people, like we're not in the right place and like this, then it affects it all. But I can't also just have the right people in the right place. They don't exist without my interests. So it's like this weird tangle. Like, do you ever like idealize like your interests, like the situations around your interests, like the social situations around your interests? Or like, yeah.
No, I don't.
It's more just like I want to be like focused on my interests, like or doing the thing that I like doing.
Yeah, and yeah, sometimes I like specific situation, but so I like playing offline, right, with board games, and I was not interested in doing something like Board Game Arena, where everything is online, because I thought, no, that loses the magic of doing board games. But now I tried it, and I was like, well, it's better than nothing.
Aw. Yeah, I'm like that with all my internet friends. I'm like living in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I like all my internet friends, but it's like I am like, oh, this is like a substitute for like real life uh juicy social stuff.
Mm.
Because that's what we're at now. But it's like I feel like this profound sense of like sadness over not being able to have like my ideal circumstances, like being in the place I want to live with all the people that are exciting to me and like the situations that are interesting to me. Like it's like it could exist, but it doesn't, or like it used to exist, but now it doesn't. Like you do have that at all. You don't have that at all, eh?
No, I no
Like I feel
no.
trapped by making do.
I don't reminiscence
Yeah.
stuff that was in the past. I mean, sometimes it was, yeah, do it a little bit, but not that much. I tried. It's in the past. I don't have it now, so just time to move on and do whatever is happening now.
I feel like I'm living in the past. Like I'm always lamenting how I was in the past, to be
Oh no,
honest.
I never do that. Whenever I go to come to a new, let's say, life path, that when I was done with high school, I was like, oh God, thank God I'm done with that. And when I was done with university, oh thank God I'm done with that. I never wanted to go back. I just wanted to go forward.
Oh boy, I think no, I'm definitely past oriented. I think sevens are also future. Fives are more present, maybe. Or yeah, I think fives are more present slash future oriented.
Could be. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't plan so much ahead. I just do with whatever I have at the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
True. That's because frustration want to see the possibilities and know what directions you can go.
Yeah, yeah. Meanwhile, I'm like I do not want anything. I don't want anything achieved. I'm not thinking about what's the next step. Like I'm more thinking about how the progression of what happened in the past to where I am now, which is not good. Or like what I could have done, like, oh, if I only did this, I would have been on this path instead.
Well, I
Yeah.
can do it myself, but that's more like a funny exercise. So like, oh, what would have happened if I done that? And then I go, no, that all this and this would perhaps happen, and then the exercise is done, and I don't think about it anymore. So I don't have any feelings towards it. It's just, mental exercise sometimes. Sometimes it's fun to think about possibilities, but not more than that.
Yeah, I think a theme with all this is like all this stuff doesn't resonate with him like on an emotional level. Like yeah, let's think about the past, let's think about the future, but there's no this like anticipation or like delight in what's gonna happen next. And at the same time, there's no like regret or like true painful regret about what happened in the past. Meanwhile, I think Larissa and I are like, no, there is an emotional portion to both of those things,
Oh yeah.
like registers in my like heart, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I ping pong between the future and the past, but I mean, I've been working on that on my like self-work path or whatever, being present, because I know that that's really difficult for sevens, and for me, being present and being grateful for what I have in the moment, which is not satisfying and is just frustrating me and not living up to my standards. So yeah, I think it's like I wonder if there's like a time oriented thing for each type to ground themselves in. I wonder if 5 is more being like emotionally connected to the moment, and maybe like 6 is like not focused on the negative or like the what could be, what could have been, or no, wait, fuck, I don't know. I want to get to the bottom of these things though.
There is, I think we've discussed before, I don't remember the exact distinction, but I think for all the 9 types there is a future, past, present division for all of them.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to look into that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 6 was definitely past, 7 was, well, we've mentioned this. It might have been that the assertive types are oh damn it, maybe the assertive types are for like future,
Mm-hmm.
and
That makes sense.
withdrawns are like present. And the super egos are past, but I'm not 100% sure.
That makes sense because superego are always, because the superego is about things that has occurred until now, right? Because that's where the superego is coming from. It's not imagined aspects in the future. It is, the superego is built about experience from the past.
Yeah, it could be that. Yeah,
And assertive is
about motion.
I want a motion into the future.
Yeah,
I'm making a path. That's because assertive wants to invoke something. So that's thinking, because if I invoke, then I go in a certain direction. So withdrawn is
there's like
accepting.
preserving the moment kind of. I don't know,
Yeah, it
it's hard
is.
to see with the 4. Maybe it's easier to see with 9, and 9 like prolonging time. There's a thing about 9 prolonging the present,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like procrastination,
Yes.
very bad time awareness, like how much time has passed.
Yeah,
But
that's
hard
true.
to see it with 4. Definitely hard to see it with 4.
Okay, well, we've had you for 2 hours, Mads. We can wrap this up.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you
can
so
wrap it up.
much. This was very insightful. I feel like I really like learned something from talking to you.
The elusive unicorn
It was
5.
fun.